I remember practicing it in my little apartment in Basil Street. You know, I used to live in Basil Street, in Knightsbridge, and I remember the person downstairs seeing me the next day and saying, "What were you doing last day?" He couldn't figure out this strange pattern of steps that was going.
At number 15, quintessentially British comic kicks from the governing force in sketch comedy.
They institutionalised things that would not normally be institutionalised, and the result was glorious.
The idea of a ministry for silly walks was just very funny. We all liked that. It was a bit like thinking the name Monty Python. What did it mean? It's just a daft idea, and it made us laugh a bit.
Well, John is a freak. This is the problem. He's a mutant. He's just a bizarre-shaped human being. And God doesn't make many of those creatures.
Good morning. I'm sorry to have kept you waiting, but I'm afraid my walk has become rather sillier recently, and so it takes...
The success of Silly Walks was John's physical tour de force.
Everybody thought it was terribly funny, much funnier than I did, and it's been around my neck like an albatross for years.
Good morning, I'm sorry to have kept you waiting, but I'm afraid my walk has become rather sillier recently, so it takes me longer.
Of course, it became, you know, the one that everyone wanted to see again on stage, and John was finding it more and more difficult to do over the years, and we'd say, "We're going to do another Python tour." I said, "I don't want to do Silly Walks." We said, "Oh, come, you've got to do Silly Walks. People love it. I don't want to do it."
And on stage, they would be making so much noise, laughing, that I used to never bother with the dialogue, and I would simply lecture Michael on the fact he'd written this wretched sketch and that I was having to spend my evening doing it, and how much I resented the fact.
£348 million a year to cover our entire Silly Walks programme.
But a few years after that, John had to have a new hip, and I thought, well, perhaps it was giving him a terrible lot of pain. And I said to John, "What have you done with the old hip? You haven't thrown it away. You could sell that hip, auction. That was the hip that had done Silly Walks." He said, no, I think they threw it away.
Last year, the government spent less on the Ministry of Silly Walks than it did on national defence. Now, we get £348 million a year, which is supposed to be spent on all our available products.